All right, members, LA here. We're going to take a look at the two trades that we have on. This morning we got the employment number. The employment number shot these markets up intra day here prior to the opening. As you can see here, there was a spike up. That spike up on the S&P itself took it to about 2005, and then they sold it right off. And I want to show you that 2005 number. If we're looking at the S&P daily, if you take this big bar from back here on December 18th, the bottom of that bar, guess where it is? About 2005. So I believe what the market just told us this morning is that this is a key resistance zone. It's probably going to be very hard to get over it. And so any kind of spike up into this area today during the regular hours is likely a good place to try to put on the next set of shorts. So if we moved over to the S&P, to the SHs, and actually if we do the math before we move over there, you know, this closed at 93. So if I pull this down a little bit, this closed at 93. So, you know, that's basically a 12-point jump. And if we divide that by the 1993, you can get the percentage, you know, move that it's making. So it's that percentage. Now if we go over to the SHs and we look at that contract where it closed last night, you know, it's 2114. Yeah, 2114. So if we take the 2114 number and we multiply this, you know, by the 2114, then we can see what the projection would be on that contract. So 12 cents lower, roughly 13 cents lower. So right around 2100 or $21 is the next short on this particular contract. And so you'll see me put an order in. I'll put it in the trading room for you. And that will be the order that will be outstanding today in case we come back down there. That's where we'll want to buy our second short setup on the SHs. The other trade that we have going on here is the XLU. Again, we were very fortunate, and we actually caught that entry right down here towards the bottom. We got a little push up, you know. Now this wasn't, you know, it didn't do what you would actually prefer it do volume wise. In other words, when we came down and tested this swing point low, we tested it with more volume. The good part, right, is that these volumes, if you look at them and you compare them to the volumes as we were coming up on these bars, they were okay. In other words, you came back in, you didn't have more volume than you had on these particular bars when you came down. So you're coming into an area where people were willing to spend, you know, think about what was happening here. You're rising up, you're seeing rising price, and you're seeing rising volume. As you come back to test, the volumes are about the same, maybe a little bit less. And so that's actually not a bad situation. If I look at it, if I switch this to the weekly, you can see that that test actually was a swing point, a bullish retest regenerate off the prior swing point high. It did a full retest, got all the way to the bottom of this, right? And the breakout bar has a lot more volume. So when you look at it from the weekly, right, you actually have a good case that this is going to reverse and is going to try to push higher. So the utility is doing what we want. The next test on the utilities is going to be, can we get over that 48 number? It was actually this low of the swing point high. That's probably a good area on the weekly. And if we go back to the daily here, on it, you've got the projections now that we can start to make. And so if we bring in and start making our projections, right, we have this push up, and I'm trying to decide exactly where it is. It looks like it's this bar here. You got this push up, this low actually here, right, and the projection up from there. So we may get a nice big rise out of this as a result. So let's just evaluate it as we go back up, right, because the first thing is you got to get back over the swing point high. And then you got this big volume bar right? The top of that bar is going to be the key spot on the way back up, so we'll see how it behaves if, in fact, we get back up there. That's the two trades going on. That's today's look at those as we do our Cradle to Grave series on a new set, XLU and the SH, which is a short of the SPY.